So the very first communication is the thing that needs to be planned the best to start the process of having people acknowledge why it happened and not be angry at the company. I think if you are able to offer outplacement, that is the next stage in the development process. So there's a lot of people that come to us who are angry, upset, scared, and being able to come to a third party and talk to a coach, we find very quickly they start to get out of that anger because they see redundancy happens to a lot of people. It's not just their company making a mistake or doing something wrong. But we do see people transition very quickly from this anger and frustration to kind of hope and looking towards what's next and what's in the future. If you're looking to do, say, outplacement program or any of the kind of offers that Ian talked about that you can give to people, it's really important that the HR team is aligned with the finance team right at the beginning of the analysis of the process, because those extras, including outplacement, are only a very small fraction generally of the entire severance package. But if it's not part of the financial planning done by the CFO from the very beginning, after the fact, it has to come out of operations expense, and that is nearly impossible. I'll tell you, when you first communicate the outplacement service, people won't know what it means. They won't value it. They won't understand it. It's what we generally find. It's when we come on site and we actually explain to people what they're getting at the time that they know they're being made redundant. That's when they understand the value that it's going to bring. You have to have those conversations with employees in a very legally structured way to avoid the company getting into trouble. But what they felt like they hadn't done is given enough bandwidth or training to managers delivering messages to be compassionate to the employee as they're delivering the message. One HR lead said they were so focused on the redundancy and the pain that they were going to have to go through that they didn't spend enough time on the survivors. So those people that were going to be left behind. And they said right from the beginning, as they were looking at this pain of the redundancy, they realized that what they should have done at that same time is already starting to think about the people that are left behind. We've done some research that shows that those left after a redundancy have a 40% drop in morale and a 20% drop in productivity. And that's right when you need them. You're a leaner organization. You need them to be more productive than ever. And I think it's taking the time to start to sell the new vision to the remaining people so that they are empowered. Some companies have only offered voluntary redundancy up until now. They've always had an agreement with their union that will always be a voluntary redundancy. Some are now having to go for the first time ever to compulsory redundancy. One company said they wished that they had offered outplacement with voluntary redundancy. So they had this myth that because people chose to leave and they chose the package, that they didn't need anything else. I think the challenge is employees don't know what they're getting into. If they haven't searched for a job in 5 years, the job search process has entirely changed, as you guys know. And how you go about landing your next role is going to be a lot more difficult than they thought. Another thing that companies are doing is offering their HR teams resilience sessions, so that because there's a very strong risk of your HR department becoming very burned out and having real compassion fatigue problems because of the enormity of what they're dealing with. And a lot of companies for the first time are having to let go really strong, trusted workers who have, might have worked for them for 10 or 20 years. And so it's really, really painful.